Go Birds.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Thank you, Colin. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 25th, 2023 meeting of the Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority. First item on the agenda is the pledge. If I could ask everyone to please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is call to roll. Sylvette.
Paul Anthony.
Here.
Ann Baum.
Here.
He's on the screen.
Robert Brooks. Frank Facciano.
Present.
Don Gottschall.
Here.
Justin Grimshaw.
Here.
John Hayes.
Here.
Ron Heckman.
Here.
Larry Hemberger.
Here.
James Irwin. Jeff Matskin. Glenn Riedman.
Present.
Mike Stershik.
Here.
Matt Turk. Chris Worley. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Sylvette. For public comment, I believe we did receive a public comment. Colin, could you read that into the record, please?
Board of Governors, I make it a point to watch committee meetings and the usual monthly Board of Governors meetings. It's time that I wait for each month. Would someone please explain the benefit of providing bus service to our competing airports? From what I understand from the following Board of Governors meeting is that the counts do not count as airline passengers that BFC is received from using the bus. Does the federal government allocate funds to airports based on airline usage? Maybe, just maybe, the airport receives parking fees. For March, over 6,800 travelers use the buses. How do you use this in attracting new service? Why would American or United Airlines want to expand service here when all they have to do is promote bus service to their hubs in Philadelphia or Newark? They can't afford to have empty seats on those flights, so just import them from the glare of Lehigh Valley and surrounding areas. How about the Philadelphia Eagles loan Jalen Hurts for the Giants to play against the Eagles? John Hayes would go bonkers. Is LVIA an airport or a bus terminal? Thanks for your time. I'm all for promoting LVIA, Charlie Smith.
Okay, thank you, Colin. Tom, do you want to talk a little bit about Charlie's concerns?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, again, thanks for the comment, Charlie. Again, the bus service, as we've talked about previously, and I think you had even made the comment, I think Charlie had made the comment previously about this, American and United are linking air travelers to their hubs, so it's really not just providing a straight ground transportation service from ABE to those two hub airports. It's also the connectivity into the airline network, so getting our travelers here in the Valley connected into American's network through Philadelphia or United's network at Newark. So still important as we continue to read more about pilot shortages, aircraft and crew shortages. We want to make sure we have great connectivity. The fact of the matter is ABE is very close to two major hubs in the region, so having great connectivity to those airline hubs is important. I can't really speak to the Eagles issue.
I'll address that separately.
Okay. But you're correct that we do not get credit as airline passengers the way that the law is written today. Those passengers are not included in our passenger traffic counts by the FAA. So that's something that's important, and I think we're certainly talking to folks, our legislators in Washington about that. I think that's an important element of this, really the growing ground transportation linkage you're seeing across the country, not just at ABE. Again, our friends in Atlantic City, are also seeing that bus service. So it's an important issue that you raise. I think it's important that we do get to count those as passengers.
I would add a couple things to Tom's comments. Again, thank you, Charlie, for the comments. We appreciate it, and they're timely questions. Echoing what Tom had said, we can work it into our lobbying efforts and see what we can do in terms of including the counts, because they are material. We've talked about them at this table. Second, Charlie, I'd also mention that we have been in continued talks with American about moving that bus service behind the security line so that a passenger would clear security here in Allentown and get delivered in Philadelphia behind their security line that would add a benefit to traveling that route. So I know American's open to the discussions. We hope at some point they are willing to take steps necessary to do that. That would be a significant increase, and that would effectively turn it into an actual flight because it would be within our counts, behind the line, et cetera. So we'll continue to work on it, Charlie, but also to expand on what Tom had said, we've seen this in terms of other airlines. A lot of people don't know is Amtrak is doing the same thing. You can take a bus from the Allentown Transportation Center to 30th Street Station in Philadelphia and board Amtrak. It's the same situation. You have to be ticketed on Amtrak to get on that bus. So it's not bus service per se. You can't simply take it instead of Transbridge or one of the other services. You have to be an Amtrak passenger to do it. Same with American. You have to have a ticket for an American flight out of Philly in order to take the bus from here.
Correct.
So it is part of their network, and we'll continue to work on it in terms of counts and increasing customer satisfaction by getting it behind the line.
If and when the bus service checks in through our TSA
Yes.
and then gets delivered behind the lines at the destination, are they then counted?
They would not be counted based on the FAA's definition today.
I thought they would based on clearing the line.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so there's some additional,
That's what I thought, but.
Okay.
so-
yeah, there's some additional discussion around that, but the way that the definition is listed today, Frank, they would not be counted. So,
Okay, we've got to work on that.
yep, we are, and
Okay.
we are. So, there's a number of airports across the country in the same situation, and I think as Landline continues to grow their operation, this will continue to be important to all airports.
Right. And that bus route continues to run 95% plus load factor.
Yeah, the
So
bus
it's popular.
service has been very popular. It provides great connectivity to that Philadelphia hub, which we know we're not going to see air service on. So
Right.
it's a great way to continue to maintain that connectivity.
So also, Charlie, important to point out, it's not our choice. We don't get to tell the airlines what routes to run and what to put on them. So while we would prefer flight, we are happy we have the bus service because of the usage it's getting, and it gets people here. So, any other questions or comments for Charlie? And then lastly, Charlie, go Birds. Looking forward to this season. Thank you for the comment on the Eagles. Okay, next on, any other public comment? Sylvester or Colin? Okay. Next is approval of the minutes of the March 28, 2023 meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Mike, second by Frank. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we jump into the reports of committees, officers, and staff. Justin, you're up first with the treasurer's report.
I'll hand that over to Todd for the 2023, March 2023 financial report.
Thanks, Justin. Good afternoon, everybody. Hard to believe we're through a whole quarter already. Always start off with traffic. We did make sure we added in bus traffic to kind of see what's going on there. But you can see that we had a pretty good March. I mean, that's back as far as 2004, so that's our best March since 2004. Up pretty well since last year when we had a pretty good recovery as well. We surpassed 2019 as well by 3%. So again, overall, a good month as far as traffic. Allegiant still driving the engine, but the legacy carriers are picking up. We're almost at 100,000 year to date. So again, making improvement. We haven't been over 100,000 since 2019. So hopefully we'll get there next year in 2024 for the first quarter. We'll be ahead of 100,000. But again, you can see down there also, we wanted to put in the bus service because we've been talking so much about it. That you can see where we were in 2019, that we've almost tripled that number in bus traffic. You see that 18,000 there, over in the corner over there. The regular aviation, 192,000, 18,000 on the bus. And then you can see we had about 6,500 in the bus in 2019. Now, obviously, we didn't have the Philly in 2019, but you can see that's really improved. So that's almost triple. Wanted to talk about load factors. This was something in. We didn't forget about you. She brought this up last month. Wanted to talk about the load factors. You can see year to date, we're about 85%. And you can see in 2019, we're about 85%. So we talk about load factors, he's really saying about 15% of the seats are unfilled. So you can kind of get a feel for what's going on. Obviously, Allegiant is still pretty high on our load factors, 89% year-to-date in 2023 and 91% in 2019. But again, 85% is pretty good. Always compare ourselves to all airports, and again, these do exclude the bus service. It was one thing we wanted to make sure was noted in the numbers. So all throughput going through the checkpoint, up 8.3 in all airports. We're up almost 1%, but again, that excludes the bus. And you can see seats are up 6.7%, and our seats are down. Again, all that excludes the bus. When you compare us to our peers, again, peers 24% down on throughput, 22% down in seats. So our numbers look pretty good. And those are those who forget about White Plains. They have the Breeze service. So again, that low-cost carrier is driving up, their traffic. But you can see where, Scranton is down there. They were really trade places with us in a heartbeat. Even Harrisburg, 15% down. Then we talk about the month of March. Always, if you go in there and you see we had 55,000 budgeted, I always like to see a number positive without CARES because we are slowly weaning off the CARES. We did push, for those who forget, we did push some money from last year into this year, but next year and probably the year after is the last we're going to have a CARES, and it's going to slowly ramp down, and it's been doing that. So there is a plan there. But you can see no CARES, and we're almost at $500,000 in net income. Driven by revenue, parking up in accordance with traffic, and obviously expenses are down, some of that due to the weather. And the same thing for year to date. Again, we are $1.2 million in change without CARES. Again, pretty favorable to budget. We're doing well as far as budget. Again, we took it out to CARES in February. But overall, those are the things that you feel good about, knowing that we are self-sustaining without CARES, and we have positive net income. This is just our cash on hand, and we always talk about staying above the 60-day, which is that black line there, and that's after contingencies and reserves. So you can see we stay above that number. The number for April came down some, and some of that is just due to the timing of the connector reimbursements. They've been pushed back a little bit, so we get those reimbursements. Obviously, that impacts our cash, but it doesn't impact us in the long run. This is the short term. I think that's it. Any questions? Good month. Try to keep it short and sweet.
Do you have any questions or comments for Todd?
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to accept the finance report. Motion by Dawn, second by Glenn. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Todd, thanks. Justin, anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Frank, we'll turn it over to you for the Finance and Pension Committee, a couple of action items.
All right, we're going to go to Todd for the RMD amendment acceptance.
So this was a amendment that we have to do, and it's actually by the end of the year, but we wanted to do it earlier because we had the discussion in our Finance Committee. And this just gives participants a little bit more time on their minimum distributions. It's an overall plan adjustment for our defined contribution plans, which would be our 401As and our 457 plans. So that's just basically gives them, I think it goes from 70.5 to 72, and they have more time to take the money out before they get the minimum distribution, 70.5 to 72.
This was driven by regulation. This is required.
It's all regulations. And then whenever we do an amendment, we actually review the whole plan. We do that pretty regularly, and no other adjustments, but this is one that we had to make. We had a little time, but we wanted to do it while it was on everybody's radar. So we're going to do it effective May 1st.
Entertain a motion to approve the change in the required minimum distribution agreement.
Doing this for both at the same time?
Yes.
Can we do both?
Yes.
I'll make the motion for both.
Second? Second by Ron. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I probably went ahead and, did I go too quickly there?
No,
No,
we're
we're good.
good. I think everybody wants to get the tacos, so we're good. And the other change, I'll take it if you don't mind, Frank, please, is we have a line of credit with BMO Harris, and it's just a demand line. We haven't used it, but it's just there in case we need it. And the change has moved away from the LIBOR, that London International, to the SOFR, is that how you pronounce it? SOFR, which is the secured overnight financing rate. The rates are approximately the same, it's just the benchmark is based on SOFR instead of LIBOR. So it's just something that all the agreements have to change. I'm sure John's doing a lot of them. Our old agreement was based on LIBOR, and it just has to be changed. So.
Yeah, for those not familiar, LIBOR is going away. It will no longer be an index rate that anyone can follow, monitor, or target, and it's being replaced by SOFR. So this is pretty well being thrust upon us by the entire finance industry, not just BDO.
And bankers.
Yep. There you go.
You and I have a long conversation about that.
And whenever we do any kind of change, we always review it with bond counsel. That's King Spry, for those that don't remember, King Spry, local firm that does our bond stuff. And then one of the things we did remove was our reference to the WPF lawsuit. You remember this was 2016, and there was reference to the lawsuit, which was no longer applicable. So we just kind of removed all that. But again, you can see the rate doesn't really change. It's approximately the same, 6.3 now that it was based on the LIBOR. So it's just basically a new benchmark. So nothing that's really going to make a big difference. But obviously, we need a board approval because we're amending the original agreement.
Right, so it's a line of credit. We don't have anything against that right now, right?
Correct.
So when's this effective?
It would be effective May 1st.
I would entertain a motion to approve the amendment to the BMO demand line of credit. Motion by Frank, second by Glenn. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And before I sit down, I want to remind everybody to get in their statement of financial interest. We had a conversation with our auditors today, and they asked that question: when are you guys going to have all that? So it's part of our compliance. So I know Savette's been sending out stuff. She has blanks in case you want to fill them out today. So one less thing that our auditors are asking me about.
Just saved you your presentation. You're on the list for it. Okay, thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Justin, Business Committee.
Ryan, if you'd like to explain to us the passenger boarding bridges, please?
Thank you, Justin. Good afternoon, everybody. So we talked about this at committees in terms of what we're looking to award a bid for new passenger boarding bridges here at ABE. So the project consists of two bridges, which really involve two gates. One is Gate 3, where, as you recall, we did demolish the old bridge there a couple years ago, and then Bridge 10 that we currently have in service, but it has it's past its useful life in terms of getting a new bridge to replace it versus rehabilitating. 3 bids were received earlier this month. VRH Construction of Englewood, a grant, again, as I mentioned, that Colin helped us acquire. Our share for this project is 0, which again is a great local share in terms of a project that's about $2 million. The big thing with this, we talked about, again, passenger boarding bridges are very specialized. There's only 2 manufacturers in the country, 2 primary manufacturers, and then they have their selective contractors that are certified by them. But then I think I did mention that they have some local subs in the area for some of the other components in terms of the installation. So the approval is for VRH Construction of Englewood, New Jersey, for a total contract amount of $2,140,000, and that includes the acquisition and the installation of both of those 2 bridges.
I'd entertain a motion to award the bid to acquire and install passenger boarding bridges as Ryan outlined. Entertain a motion to that effect. Motion by Glenn, second by Mike. Discussion.
I have one. We talked about the local subcontractors last week.
Yep.
If they change, what happens?
So if they change, the contractor has to notify us, and we have to.
And that comes back to the board?
Typically, it doesn't.
For approval of subs, it wouldn't.
No, it doesn't. I don't like that. That's why I asked. Okay. That's all my only question.
So also, I saw the base bid. What's the alternate?
So the alternate one was Bridge 10. So the base was 3. The alternate
Yeah,
was
the other one. Okay.
just to separate the 2.
And a clarification question again, just for the record, this bridge works both with the Airbus A320 and the Boeing 737?
Does.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Great.
Ryan, thank you. Okay, Tom, Director's Report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. As Todd mentioned, a good month for March. Traffic again up 7% month over month, so certainly positive news there. Also, taking a look at cargo, though, cargo was our best March on record. So March traffic for cargo was up 31.76% over last March. So significant climb there, both attributed to Amazon and FedEx. So great news on the cargo front. Since our last meeting on March 28th, April 3rd through the 7th, we had the TSA pre-check open enrollment event. We enrolled 400 new folks. All the appointments were filled up there. We'll have some more of those, Colin, later this year in July and maybe October?
Correct.
Okay. April 3rd through the 5th, our staff attended the AAAE Customer Experience Symposium in Louisville. So some of our staff were down there looking at customer experience ideas and sharing some of those with other airports, talking about some of the different programs we have and what other airports do to really serve customer experience. And I think we had some really neat ideas coming from that. April 16th through the 22nd, Volunteer Appreciation Week was a lot of fun here. So we handed out some goodie bags. I think Sherman was on the receiving line for some of that, Glenn. But we do want to say thanks to all the volunteers at the airport that really, going back to that customer experience, makes a huge difference in what we can do and what we offer here. So many thanks to the work that they do. April 18th through the 20th, I know Darren and some of the staff were out in Las Vegas. I think we saw you dialing in remotely during committee meetings there, but attending the annual Allegiant Conference. It's the Allegiant Airports Conference, so meeting with them one-on-one, talking about how the station's performing and some of the news there, and I think it was a positive meeting and good conference overall. And last, April 21st, Earth Day, we did a cleanup at all the airports, so really an opportunity, I guess a day early, officially it was Friday. We did it, but really to get out there and do a little bit of cleanup around the facilities once spring hits is always a great opportunity. In terms of upcoming events, just a couple of things here. April 27th is Take Your Child to Work Day, so we'll have about 20 students, K through 12 ages, coming in, tours of the airport. We've got a lot of activities for them, so I think it'll be really interesting for them. May 8th, we have our Fear of Flying seminar, and that's full, which is great. So that's an evening class, but that continues to be very popular. And May 10th, we're going to be participating in the Military Share Packs program with the Community Action Committee at Lehigh Valley. So it provides essentially food to veteran, active duty military reserve members, their families, and I think it's really a great program. We appreciate Dawn throwing that out to us to help us get involved. So, yeah. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments for Tom? Mike?
The May 3rd event that was going to be rescheduled, who was the target audience for that?
A lot of our business, local businesses, so the business travelers really, I think, is what we were trying to key into. Unfortunately, we couldn't get our airline partner to make that work, but we're certainly looking to get some other venue in place to reach out. And again, I think, we heard that from Charlie Smith earlier, just a lot of questions about air service and travel, certainly coming out of the pandemic. We want to be able to answer those questions and have airlines helping us with that process. I think makes sense.
Good, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. Other questions or comments? Just one for me. How far out did Real ID get punted again?
May of 2025, Colin?
25, yes.
Okay, good.
So you've got a little bit of time, once again.
My real ID will expire by then.
You'll be on your second Real ID. Yeah. That's very possible.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Sure.
Okay, next on the list is our solicitor's report. Attorney Marcon.
Thank you. Another brief report this month. My office continues to assist with some land use and landlord-tenant matters. Nothing really notable in that regard. We've also assisted with an updated request for quotes proposals for the on-call consultant. Kina, my office, has been working with Ryan on that, and that's really all I have to report this month.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Attorney Marcon? Okay, thank you, everyone. Any new business to bring before the Board of Governors today? Okay. Next then is election of the officers for the 2023-2024 year. And again, Todd, I agree with you, time flies. So I'm going to turn this over to Larry and to Mike. Gentlemen?
Good afternoon. Florida, thank you for lunch, we appreciate it. That could be lunch ending for some of us. It's an exciting time of the year. Each year at this time, we select our officers, pardon me. And we'll do that in just a moment as well. But before we do that, I'd like to thank the committee for the hard work to make it happen each and every time this happens. And of course, those people who have come forward and said they would serve, we appreciate that as well. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mike, who will present the slate, and then we'll vote.
Okay. We're going to be doing this in 3 pieces. So first, we're going to be doing the nominees for chair, vice chair, and secretary treasurer. And those nominees are John Hayes as chair, Glenn Reedman as vice chair, and Justin Grimshaw as secretary treasurer. Our bylaws indicate that they may succeed themselves once, and that's it. So those are the nominees. Are there any nominations from the floor for any of those positions? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close nominations. Frank, Dawn? And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And then in favor of the slate, I think we just vote because the committee is a first and second. So is there, all in favor of the 3 officers as named? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The next is their county representatives, and this is different because only residents of the county can vote for the county rep. So if you're a Northampton County rep, you're going to be voting for the Northampton. If you're a Northampton County appointee, you're going to be voting for the Northampton County rep. So with that, Paul Anthony has been nominated for the Northampton County rep. Are there any additional nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to close nominations. And second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Don't forget, just Northampton County folks only. That will count. Okay. Any opposed? Thank you. And then last, Lehigh County representatives, and I was nominated to serve in that position. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor of the nomination?
Aye.
Thank you, and I think we're done for another year.
Mike, Larry, thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts every year in terms of the nominating committee. It's good work. So thank you.
I just want to make sure you also did the election for Northampton County, because I think we may have.
Northampton County Rep.
That was Paul.
I know, but it sounded like you just closed the nominations and then was.
We did vote.
And there was a second.
Yes,
Okay.
we did vote.
So it wasn't clear on that.
Okay, good. Okay, again, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And I want to thank everyone here. This is a great group of people, and I'm privileged to serve as chair for a coming year and look forward to continuing to work with everyone. So thank you. Next, we have executive session, which I don't believe we have a need at this point. Does anyone on the floor or at the table have any need for exec session? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We've got the motion. We're good. Thank you, everyone. See everyone in a little less than a month at the next round of committee meetings.
Thank you.